Okay, this is could be one of those, forget everything you thought you knew about functions type programs. But we're going to break a bit of a rule of functions in this program called by reference. So what we're going to do is in the main program, this is a really important function we're going to write. So we're going to have variable a equal to 5. B is going to equal 7. And then what we're going to do is we're going to see out the two variables. So a and b. Okay. So I'm going to run this just to show you what it's, which is not much. Okay, there we go. 5 and 7. So what I want to do is I want to create a function which is going to swap these two values. So I want to send it a and b. And then what I want to do is I want to repeat this line of code and then have the numbers reversed. Swapping values is really important in terms of later on we might take a look at organizing information in a set of data. So if you want to swap two values that are out of order and make them in order, this swap function is going to be really important. However, this, in the way that we've been writing functions, doesn't really work. So we could take a look at a way of doing this, and note that this is on a line by itself. So when we have something that's on a line by itself, this is always a void function. So void swap int a int b. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to so we'll need a temp variable for this, mind you. So we're going to have temp become a just to store that variable. Then a is going to get the value of b, and then b is going to get the value of the temporary variable. Great. Okay. So hopefully you can see by this that the values will be swapped. So let's take a look at what happens when we run the program. So I'm going to run this, and this is what we get. 5 and 7, and then it runs the swap function. So a will get the value of b, and then b gets the value of a, and then it gives us the exact same thing again. So this is a failure. So taking a look at the program, we've got to figure out, okay, well, what went wrong? So we have our swap function here. We're sending the two values, but the problem here is that a is not a from the main program. This is the declaration of a brand new variable a. This is the declaration of a brand new variable b. So what's happening here is we aren't sending the variable a to the function. We're sending the value of a to the function. So a doesn't move up here, just the number 5 moves up here and then gets dropped into a. So passing variables by value. So this is what we've been doing. Passes only the value of the variable. This is typically, however, what you want to do. So you want to send the 5 and the 7. But the thing is, in this program, we don't really want to do this because we have two things that we have to change. Because what it does is it creates A, and then as soon as it hits this line, it destroys variables declared in swap. So it has no way of doing this. So then, without the thing that I'm about to show you, a lot of people go to this idea. So, well, let's return A and then return B. Sort of makes sense when you think about it, but let's run it and see what kind of error code it comes up with for this. Okay. It says, error, return statement with a value in function void minus f permissive. So what it's telling us is it can't do this. Not only, well, it's void, but even if I put an int here, it can't return two values. That's not how functions work. As soon as it hits a return, it ends the function, so it would never hit this line of code. So this is not allowable. So what we need to do is, instead of passing variables by value, we need to do passing variables by reference. It's a little bit more technical than this, but if you want to think about it, is passes a reference to the actual variable. I put that in all caps because it's very important. So what happens is we have a way of passing a reference to the actual variable. So here's how this is going to work. Before the name of the variable, all you have to do is you have to put the and sign. And I'm going to do it for both of them. So what happens here is and makes this a reference to the original. So any changes that we make to A in this function affect A in the actual main program, because it's like a pointer. So this points to the value A in the main program. So now if I run the program, first off, it's error-free, which is nice. But now, after swap, it actually reverses the two values. And just to demonstrate further that this can work, I'm also going to change the names of these variables. So I'll change A to X. And I'll change B to Y. So now if I run it, I get the same result. So it doesn't even matter what you name these. If I wanted to call this like and sign ostrich, it would still be a reference to the original variable from the main program. So any changes that I make to the first variable directly affect the first variable that is being sent, not by value this time, but by reference. So that's an important thing to remember.